Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry for the technical delay. Turn it over to Councilmember Wilkerson, who's Chair of Finance and Administration Committee.
Thank you, Council President. And I think technical delay is our new norm. So welcome everyone to the Finance and Administration Committee meeting today. Call it to order, and I would like to start off with the approval of the minutes, please.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Minutes have been approved. Are there any items on consent that any council member would like to have pulled today? Hearing none, then we will go right into our discussion requests, and we'll start with Dan Bueller. Dan, welcome.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Okay, good deal. The paper I have in front of you is the residential grind and overlay project. A couple of streets there, 31st Bernard to Division and 26th Bernard to Tico. And it's just your regular annual projects we got going there. Funding is local. Any other questions on that? The north half, by the way, will be on the subsequent. We separated it out into a subsequent project, so that'll be later this year yet.
Great. Any questions for Dan on the grind overlay? Thank you. Hearing none. Welcome, Jeff. We are going to hear some more about the intermodal landscaping contract.
Thank you, council members. So this is the project to do a landscaping project at the intermodal. It's to remove a retaining wall, grade all the ground down to street level, remove all the shrubbery and boulders that people could hide behind. It's going to consist of raising the trees, means limbing them up, and putting 3-inch basalt spalls down and some lower plantings to still make it somewhat attractive. Is there any questions?
Questions? Councilmember Mumm.
Hi there. Is any of this to create new parking for employees, or is this just for SEPTED?
This is just for SEPTED. There is no fencing and no parking lot included in this project.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, Jeff. We know that has been a challenging location for some time, so we're glad to see some activity going on down there. If there's no more questions for Jeff, we're going to turn it over to Ms. Tanya Wallace, who's going to talk about the bid. Tanya?
Hi, thank you, council members. This is something that came to our attention. We've been working on it on a case-by-case basis with some of our Business Improvement District members. We're struggling a little bit because of COVID and the financial stress that it has put on them with their assessments, their annual assessments. But in working with Mark Richards, it becomes much more apparent that the more efficient way to do that is to have a set of waivers that the mayor would like to implement, and just work with Mark Richards in moving this through. So the mayor is going to be waiving interest and penalties and fees to make this happen and be just more efficient way of handling those fees and penalties. Mr. Richards has identified some of those members that really need the support. So we're going to be working with him on doing that. We wanted to bring it to your awareness. The financial impact of these waivers is really right now we anticipate less than $2,000. Definitely under $10,000. We're going to be reviewing some of the financial reports later this week, but we did want to bring this to your attention and ask for your support as we move forward with this. Any questions?
Councilmember Stratton.
So I guess this is just a process question. Since I serve on the bid board and attended the last few meetings, have had that as a conversation point. I have a total number of, or a total dollar number of what that would take to make some of these businesses whole after COVID and not being able to pay those fees. I've turned those into the team, our team list. Do I need to worry about that, or should I keep that on our team list for future discussion? Because I have a total and everything that came out at a bid meeting of what it would take to cover those businesses. I'm not sure if we're going to talk about that when the group meets, or should I not worry about that?
Councilmember Stratton, are you referring to potential ARP negative economic impact support?
Yes. Total that was given to me by Mark for that number for the businesses during that time.
While that is a separate topic to the interest and penalty fee waivers, there will be a process around businesses and what they would need to do and to submit for negative economic impact support. And I do believe we are going to be talking about that later.
Okay.
Probably not today, but today we are going to start to introduce this. Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to start the topic of ARP and what those eligible uses are. So those conversations are definitely going to be forthcoming, council members.
Okay. So I won't worry about that number and those businesses, that information that I have. I'll keep it where it's at. We can talk about it as a committee.
Yes, please keep that information.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Tanya, although it's not, it is a significant amount of money, I'm just concerned of the window from 2,000 to 10,000. Is that through the rest of the year? Is why we're leaving those funds so fluid without a more concrete or closer number that we would need to be allocating to cover penalties and fees?
Councilmember, that is a great question. We can bring more of that information to you. Right now, it's around $2,000 just to waive those fees that have accumulated at this time. But if refunds were considered, which would be much more administratively burdensome, it could increase up to $10,000. So that's why there's a range. But we can bring that information to you and at least report out on the final administrative implementation of this.
Well, thank you, because I only heard interest and penalties. I missed the word refund in your first description there.
And it was refunding those penalties and fees and interest.
Oh, refund. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Any more questions for Tanya on this topic? All right, then, Tanya, let's move on to our next topic, which is the ARP review. And this will be pretty meaty in some time, so please be prepared for your questions.
Thank you, council members. I'm going to share some information, but as council member Wilkerson alluded to, this is a very dense presentation. It's a little more enhanced based on new information that came out after it was presented to the cabinet. It was presented to the cabinet just a few weeks ago, so that all of the department and division heads were a little more aware of how it can be used, what some of the guidance is that we're aware of at this time, and some of the reporting requirements. So now we're going to share that with you, council members. Bear with me as I... Okay, so it's not that one. Can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So Again, you saw in there, I neglected to change the dates there. So it was in first part of June. We were wanting to start with the division directors and let them become aware of some of the eligible uses, because there were a lot of ideas going around, just as there are right now. So we wanted to share with them a breakdown of what the American Rescue Plan Act entails. Look at local ARP funding. So local funding is only a portion of the entire pie. Look at some of the eligible uses and limitations. City service restoration process. There is a formula that has been dictated on how to calculate what that revenue loss is so that we can restore and maintain governmental services. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then community support allocation process. We've already been talking about that. We're all on the same page that community engagement is very necessary, as these funds can be used to meet unmet needs caused by COVID. And then progress and reporting requirements. So looking at the American Rescue Plan Act itself, there are several different categories. State and local fiscal recovery funds are only a portion of that. The largest portion that was allocated out of this near $1.9 trillion package was direct financial assistance to individuals and businesses. There's other assistance through quasi-governments or governmental agencies for individuals and families, as well as education, child care assistance, and then our health care, just response to COVID. A large chunk was allocated, and then transportation and other programs. Here's a breakdown, and I hope that, I know it's a small print, but you can see from here, these are all of the different buckets related to American Rescue Plan dollars. Direct assistance that I talked about, where folks got stimulus checks, et cetera, was the largest portion of funding. It was 46, almost 47% of the $1.9 trillion package. Biggest proportionate share. I'm not sure why that popped up there. States and territories received the second largest allocation of nearly 24% to states and other territories. Public authorities, so you can see like that'd be housing, HUD, housing utility assistance, food and nutrition assistance, housing and homelessness assistance. That was the third largest, or nearly 9% of those dollars were there. Cities and counties, 7.3%, or a total of $135 million. That's where we sit right here on state and local assistance. So that was 7 to 8% of that total package came to locals. So when we look at just that bucket, you can see state and fiscal recovery. Washington State received $4.25 billion of funding. Local fiscal recovery, $80 million to the city of Spokane, $16 million to the Valley, $101 million to the county, and then roughly about $10 million to some of our other smaller jurisdictions here in the region. State of Washington also received $189 million for capital projects. And then our local assistance and tribes also received some funding. So again, we're talking, there's lots of funding out there. This is our little portion right here that we're going to talk about. So what are those eligible uses for that those local dollars? Generally, these are the buckets. Responding to public health emergency. And I'm going to go into some of the details about each of these categories, but also responding to the negative economic impact and the hardest hit populations. This cannot be used for general economic development. So that is a key thing, only the negative economic impacts. Also, water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure is a category. And then premium pay for our essential workers. So all of those workers that through hand-in-hand touch of delivering services or products during COVID, that's where these premium pay for essential workers rests. And then address the impact of general government revenue losses. We were hit. We did have negative revenue losses to our services. So the intent here is to restore if there were layoffs or maintain our services. So let's talk about each of these just a little bit. So responding to public emergency. This is the most commonly understood category, certainly those services and programs that mitigate the spread of COVID. So vaccinations, medical care, testing, all of those that we've been doing for many, many months now, and other public health responses. As you heard today, a good portion of the county's CARES dollars, almost $17 million, in fact, I think it was a little more than $17 million, was actually used for our public health response. Services to address behavioral health care needs that were exacerbated by the pandemic. And we're seeing that unfold in many, many areas. So mental health treatment, substance treatment, hotlines, outreach services, those are all eligible uses. And then payroll of those folks that are directly working on these same public emergency healthcare needs. Any questions here, council members? Okay. A little more information on the response to negative economic impact. So you can see here, what does that exactly mean? That could mean direct services to workers for job training, aid to households facing food insecurity and families, housing issues, to prevent eviction and homelessness, and then supporting small businesses. This is not going to be very different than what we had before, except it has to be for the negative economic impact. And that's what part of those guidelines are, where it cannot be used for economic development. We're waiting for those guidelines. The city, and this is important down here, the city must maintain records to support its assessment of how businesses or business districts receiving the assistance were affected by negative economic impacts and how the aid provided response to those impacts. So the city will have to retain records, our businesses will have to retain records. Now, negative economic impact can also be used for those folks that were hardest hit by this. And that's where there's 4 main categories, if you look at this, that are strongly suggested by the U.S. Treasury. To focus on health disparities and social determinants of health, housing and neighborhoods, particularly on services for those individuals experiencing homelessness, affordable housing, and residential navigation. Address educational disparities, and this is in the high poverty school district areas, and promote healthy childhood environments. Now, some of the criteria on this is for these 4 different groupings of services, has to be within a qualified census tract. If it is outside of a qualified census tract, then we will need to document what our assessment was and how that qualified for a disparate population or community. Here's just a quick look at where are those qualified census tracts in the county. Again, for health disparities in these regions, housing, educational disparities, and early childhood environments to help make them healthier environments. Now, investment in infrastructure, water and sewer infrastructure, and then broadband infrastructure. Clean water, upgrading facilities and transmission lines, publicly owned treatment infrastructure, and efforts to address climate change. Now, a lot of your water and sewer infrastructure is a really great opportunity in the city because it does not only improve our resiliency, but this is where our investment is going to have a multiplier effect for future growth, because the water and sewer infrastructure is eligible, but we can also look at our planning for the region and where do we want that growth to occur and really support this effort. Broadband. So this is our unserved and underserved households and businesses. There are some pretty explicit guidelines really closely aligned to getting speeds up to 100 megabytes per second. And as I stated here, there are a few exceptions, but we are strongly encouraged to put the infrastructure in that would get us to those speeds, and most preferably fiber optics. A lot of documentation will be required with investment infrastructure. As you can see here, it is encouraged to have strong labor standards, project labor agreements, and community benefit agreements in place, and ensure that we're offering wages at or above the prevailing wage, and really hire local. Have our own folks go to work. In the U.S. Treasury, this is where we don't have all of the guidance yet in the reporting requirements. It's expected that this will be out in early fall. But certainly the spending in this category will require more administration than maybe some of the other categories, and we need to prepare ourselves for that. But this is also a category that will provide a lot of opportunity for regional investment. Now, premium pay. Premium pay is one of those categories that can be retroactive to the beginning of the pandemic. And you see here a list, according to the Treasury's rule, of who are essential workers. They have defined what an essential worker is, but you can see nursing homes, hospitals, farm, food production, a lot of those services that required hand-to-hand touching of products or people where you are at greater risk of exposure to COVID. We will need to justify an increase to the workers' total pay if it's above 150% greater than the state or the county's average annual wage, and it cannot exceed $25,000. Essential work will need to be maintained, and it's defined as regular in-person interactions or regular physical handling of items that were also handled by others. So it's where that easy transmission could occur. Again, we're waiting for some of the reporting requirements to come out, but additional reporting requirements for grants to third parties, for example, a grocery store, might possibly be in play, including public disclosure. So a lot of our subrecipient requirements will also apply for any third-party employer subrecipient awards. General governmental services. So again, the intent here is to provide the services or avoid cutting services, but it's limited. There's a cap of how much council members you'll be able to allocate to this category, and that's limited based on our revenue loss. So general revenue is defined as basically taxes, charges, miscellaneous charges, for example, from our own sources. Does not include utilities. So what that just doesn't mean that we cannot use that for utilities, it just means that that is not part of the calculation for our cap. It's calculated on an entity-wide basis of revenue, based on the source, not based on the fund. And it's assumed all of the revenue loss. So this was actually a highlight of reading the 150-some pages of the rule, is that we do not have to prove that our loss was due to the pandemic. It's just assumed that our revenue loss was due to the pandemic. So that was a blessing. Also, in the calculation, which you're going to see here very shortly, It assumed a growth from the last full year of revenue. So for the city, that was 2019, is greater than 4.1 or our 3-year average annual growth rate. For the city of Spokane, it was more than the 4.1. So again, another blessing for the city. So let's look at that formula and exactly how it is broken down on right now based on the rule. We will want to validate this. There were a lot of questions that a lot of jurisdictions were submitting. So we will again validate, but it's basically your base year revenue times the growth rate gives you your counterfactual revenue. And your counterfactual revenue less actual revenue equals your loss. So our counterfactual revenue was, and I see that it's a little misprint. I apologize. Let me go back here. This $289 million is actually our 2019 revenue. And then our 2020 actual general citywide revenue was 280. So if we had grossed this up by 4.43, which is our annual growth rate, our first year revenue loss limit is 21.6 million. Again, we want to validate that. There were a lot of questions around this submitted into the Treasury, so we're going to wait till their final rule, take another look at this, but all indications do show us that we're in this ballpark. And this is only the first year. There will be another revenue loss for 2021 and possibly 2022. So this number could easily go up to 40 million. Even if we assumed that that gap starts to close in 2021, 2022 as we recover, this could very easily grow beyond this, and I expect it to actually grow beyond 21 million. So general governmental services and eligible uses. Certainly the provision of government services, building infrastructure, including roads. So this kind of opens the infrastructure category up a little bit more, but it does go against that cap of how much can be allocated. Modernization of cybersecurity. This is definitely something the U.S. Treasury has emphasized. Our health services, environmental remediation, school and educational services, and then provision of fire, police, and other public safety services. There are some restrictions. We cannot use it for debt or pensions or replenishment of financial reserves. We cannot use any reductions from legislative action in our revenue loss calculation either. So, for example, if City Council were to take legislative action to, or like this, forgiveness of those penalties, fees, and interest, that decrease in revenue cannot be used in our calculation. Any questions here, Council? Okay, good absorption. It is important to talk about why is this different? Why are we being so careful? So here's, and this is a complicated table. I'm just putting it in here to really kind of demonstrate that CARES and the flexibility that we had with CARES is not really going to be available for the American Rescue Plan Act dollars, the local funding. Where, like, just simple, the universal identifier in the system, it was optional, it is now required. We already have our identifier, that's already taken care of. So that was not, a huge lift there. But the reporting subaward and executive compensation information for our subrecipients, it was excluded for CARES. It is required for this. OMB guidelines for agencies and government on Treasury implementing regulation, excluded. It is now required. Most importantly is this Part 200, and this is the Part 200 subaward A, B, C, D, and E. This basically guides us with federal grants of what's allowable, what's not allowable, how we go through procurement, et cetera. You can see it was mostly excluded or all excluded. It is mostly required. So very different. And different does then necessitate a different process. This is very important for, yes?
Before you go on next, could you go back to the slide before the CARES versus the ARP money? Yes. There was one with general reporting guidelines by August 31st, where reports were going to need to be completed or done.
Yes.
Go.
I will cover that in just a few slides in
Okay.
a little more detail, Councilmember
Thank you.
Wilkerson. So it's important to, I'm just going to give some general compliance guidelines and why I'm stressing this importance. One, this will be subject to single audit. We will be audited on this. It is going to require an effort on the city. This is a tremendously huge program, larger than any other federal grant program that we've had. But by being compliant and getting good audits, it does not put our other federal dollars at risk. So we have to be aware that there is a chain reaction here. So risk mitigation is going to be extremely important and is actually required. So uniform administrative requirement, and that's this first part that I am talking about. The uniform guidance is required for these dollars, like most any other federal grant dollars that we get. We are required to implement and document in writing robust internal controls and effective monitoring to ensure that we're compliant. Administrative costs, supporting effective management and oversight, ensuring compliance with legal, regulatory, and other requirements. We're already seeing, like at least at the state level, contracting with legal entities to ensure that this element is met. And then consulting costs. Grant consultants, I'm also starting to see those being hired and engaged in many jurisdictions as well. Here is something that is a little different. I was certainly excited. In fact, I walked right over to Treasury saying, okay, look at this. This is different. This is different for us and kind of exciting. Cash management. Our local funds, we can have them in an interest-bearing account, but we do not need to remit that interest earned to U.S. Treasury, and it is not subject to the local funds eligible uses. So that's probably the greatest flexibility that the city is going to have are the interest earnings on these dollars. And that is one of those slight differences from other federal dollars. Now, equipment and real property must be used for originally authorized purposes. Procurement. Procurement is required and defined under that uniform guidance. The procedure document is already outlined in that uniform guidance, so all of that stands in place. Program income. This is where we're going to be watching right now. We are looking for that additional guidance on the use and regulation of program income. So, for example, if we create a program and it generates income, which we're not prohibited to do, but we need to understand better how can we use that program income that is generated. Record keeping requirements. We are to maintain records and financial documents for 5 years after the program. Recipients must provide these documents upon request. And recipients, here we're implying that means us, the city, as a recipient of these federal dollars, but also an extension to those subrecipients. Civil Rights Act compliance. We have to ensure that there is no discrimination on the base of race, color, national origin, disability, age, or sex. We will have to have signed assurance when requesting funds and provide annual information on compliance with the civil rights Act. Now, subrecipients and subawards. Again, we're going to have documented internal controls of how we're going to manage and monitor subrecipients. And we will have to identify for the subrecipient the subaward, compliance requirements for use. They also have to comply for the use as it comes out, and then inform them too of what their reporting requirements are and the frequency of those reporting requirements. This is where on evaluate risk of non-compliance. This is where I have seen a couple of jurisdictions starting to engage with legal consultation to review and evaluate those risks of non-compliance for every project or program that gets rolled out. And then here, develop written process and procedures for monitoring and risk assessment. Okay, general reporting requirements. First interim report is for any category through July 31st. It is due to the U.S. Treasury on August 31st, 2021. So we are prepared to do that. Thankfully, at this point in time, it is an easy report to do. We don't have a lot of expenditures. We do have some for the vaccination clinic. So we will be on target with that first report requirement. Thereafter, we are required to have quarterly project and expenditure reports all the way through December 2026. We don't have all the details yet, but we do know there will be negative economic impact assessment reports. And that goes back to those businesses. If they have experienced a negative economic impact, there will be assessment reports required. If applicable, assessment reports if the funding is used on other populations that were outside of a qualified census tract. We will have to document and justify why we did that based on evidence. Qualified infrastructure investment reports, and this is still to be determined. So that's on that water, sewer, broadband, and then premium pay documentation. You saw that there were some guidelines, cannot exceed 150% of the state average annual wage and cannot exceed $25,000. Administrative and processes. Certainly what is allowable are administrative support for program, project evaluation, fund distribution, monitoring, and reporting. The general rule does allow for this. Again, possible consultation needs. It would still need to fit within those eligible uses. And that is what we're seeing the most of by jurisdictions at this time. Key processes, unmet needs assessment, community engagement plan. This was the highlight of today's conversation, and it is the best way for us to identify what are those unmet needs in the community that were caused by COVID. But that's not the only process that we need. It's just the first and probably one of the most important processes. And then funding request process. So what does that process look like for folks to make a request for funding? We definitely want everybody to be educated on what those eligible uses are in order to streamline that request process. But then funding evaluation. Every funding request that comes in will need to be evaluated. And you heard me talk previously about even risk mitigation. A risk mitigation will need to be required for all spends. And then the approval process. And council, that is your critical role. Administration, monitoring, and reporting process. So how do we administer these programs? What do these programs look like? There'll be monitoring, and we already know that for monitoring and reporting, it'll be on a quarterly basis. So it is going to be intensive. Some of the immediate next steps: adopt the framework resolution, which you already did, to demonstrate our intent and to have a collaborative and thoughtful process to move forward. And then create an administrative structure that supports the city. And by the city, that is all branches of the city, and our citizens and our community in the deployment of the funds and ministers the reporting requirements to the U.S. Treasury. Again, we already know that that first report is going to be due by the end of August, and we have a plan to get that first report completed on time and within the specifications of those guidelines. Now, the rest of those guidelines, we know that the comment period only closed on Friday. U.S. Treasury has 30 days to look at those and consider all of those comments to decide if they will make any amendments to that final rule. They've already noted that there will be other reporting requirements that are going to come out later, at least from the National League of Cities, and the anticipation is early fall on some of those other reporting requirements. So here we've put between June and September, we're watching, we're paying attention, and we're ready to start looking at what that structure really truly needs to be. And then identify a process that will inform elected officials and regional leaders on what the unmet needs are. This does take some time. That is the community outreach. It takes time to put it out there in different venues, assess it, listen to it, and identify what that is. And it's not just the city of Spokane. We do have a large chunk, 80 million, but the county also has 101 million. And then we know that there's going to be probably 20 million of other funds coming into cities. And then our educational structure also has millions of dollars. So really, that is probably going to be a June through December timeframe before we get all that information back and we can all review it and identify what those greatest unmet needs are. Phew.
Tanya, can you, Madam
Yes.
Chair, back one slide? I just want some clarification on something. Chair Wilkerson, is that okay?
Yes.
On the administrative support for program or project evaluation, can you get a little more specific on that?
Well, probably the most specific that I can get at this time is like the difference between a program or a project. The program, for example, if we were to have a revolving loan program for small businesses, that would be a program that would take regular interventions versus a project, say a project of putting fiber optics on Wesley. But each one of those. So it was just a general term of if we're going to do a program versus a project, they both do need to be evaluated. Did that answer your question, Council Member?
Yeah, and I think we'll just have to get some specifics because as recommendations are brought to us from the ARP Council Work Group, we might need more evaluation either on costs or timetable from the administration. I was hoping that's kind of what you meant by that, as opposed to staff would be evaluating those programs and projects. You see what I'm saying? I'm just trying to get the feedback piece in there.
Thank you. That is good for clarity. And here, the intent of evaluation is evaluation of eligibility.
That makes sense. Okay, that's better. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Tanya? Councilmember Stratton.
So Tanya, when can you take a guess on when this group will start meeting between the, council members and administration, the team that's been put together? When will we start meeting? I worry about those organizations out in the community that are just kind of hanging on by their fingers. When are we going to start meeting and setting up this process and starting to make a difference out there?
Great question, Councilmember Stratton. I think the group can meet, and I'm sure the administration will start to plan something within the next 2 weeks. We just have to remember that final rule for guidance is not out yet. An application form, for example, is not established. Our written procedures for internal controls are not completed yet either, pending the final rule. And that is required before any dollars roll out. we'd also want to be just making sure that if we start rolling this out, that our subrecipients are well aware of what their reports and information of what they have to provide to us. This is not any different than when we do something with our HUD dollars, our CDBG dollars, and we have an application process. And those folks that when they apply, they're already informed of the terms and conditions. This is no different than that. So we just have to create that structure and build that up. And we can probably start that fairly soon. But we want to make sure that we only roll that out once rather than making a lot of corrections later.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tanya, I have a question, or a couple of them, as a matter of fact. So I guess, and thank you for this overview. I really appreciate it. I guess as a council member, I'm a little challenged on the immediate next steps, and the administration can certainly get with us as to who made us in charge to pull these leaders together. Yes, we do play a role, but the elected official and regional leaders, so we're looking at, we would hold that work as the city, and so we would be supporting that. On the community engagement piece, community as an elected, and then there's community in the people that we serve. So I guess there would need a little bit more clarity really on that community engagement. How are we defining that? And who do we see as that voice bubbling up? When you talked about the economic impact assessments and reports, is that administration going to pursue in that work? Or are we looking for that to come with potential proposals or requests? So it just goes down the line of who holds that work, who will be responsible. And I don't expect an answer today, but I just want to be heard. Those are the questions that I have going forward. And some of this work, council had advanced before, and it had not gotten off of first base. So I'm a little frustrated around that, like Councilmember Stratton says. There are organizations who certainly fall into these categories and who would qualify. So I don't want us to slow roll resources that we know meet the requirements for our citizens going forward. So that's all I got for you, John.
No, that is really great. And if I can share with the council a little bit, because we know Seattle has done some work in this area. We know that Kings County has done some work in this area. They are definitely much larger jurisdictions than us, and they also have different reporting criteria. As communities over 250,000, they will be required, as will Spokane County, they will be required to do performance reports as well. Now, what they have done so far in their process, and they're of course they're staffed a little differently than how the city is currently staffed, is they have passed legislation allocating into primary buckets. Now, allocating the funds into buckets does not necessarily imply that the dollars are out on the streets. But what that does is legislation into buckets means now the administration for those jurisdictions can start the work of putting programs in place to serve in those buckets. So for Kings County, for example, they passed into buckets, and now they're accepting proposals in those buckets. And with documentations, they have a proposal questionnaire. It goes through a process where a proposal questionnaire is completed, goes to the budget office. Then it's reviewed by a compliance team. Each proposal is reviewed. The budget office does a first review, just checks to make sure everything's complete for goodness, goes to a compliance team, which is mainly staffed by outside federal grant experts, legal counsel, and divisions, county division support, depending on the group, the category of spend. Then a compliance team will issue an eligibility memo. Basically, after they've done their due diligence review to say it's eligible or it's not eligible, they'll issue a memo to that effect. And then it moves to the prosecuting attorney's office. And that is where risk evaluation is completed. Prosecuting attorney's office then turns around and issues their risk mitigation or their risk memo. That is client confidential, so you don't really see that. And then from there, it moves to, it moves to implementation. But the legislative branch has already allocated into the bucket. So the legislative group has already done their job, and now it's time to implement. With implementation, it goes through with the proposal, compliance review, risk mitigation review, and then it launches. So they're still in this phase of it right now, but we are watching them because there should be no shame in copying what's working well. No shame at all. Now, some of the questions that are asked on the proposal application, and the proposal application is the same whether you are an agency of the county or whether you are a small business or somebody outside of the government. And it is, what is the request, project, or program? How is it related to COVID-19 emergency? And what is the unmet need caused by COVID? So their first thing is meeting the very first criteria is to use these dollars that have to be caused by COVID-19. And it has to be documented and supported. So in that first question, and that's just one of several questions, you have to show the documentation that it was directly caused by COVID or the pandemic. And then it's how has the COVID public health emergency caused the situation and that the program is intended to address. So if you're a small business and you were shut down, you're a restaurant and you were shut down, that's your documentation. You were shut down because you were ordered to shut down because of the pandemic. So that's how it caused it. And then how has it made the expenditure of the funds on the request necessary? So why is it necessary that this request be addressed? And usually the response could be, without the funds, you would have to lay off employees. So, and payroll is a supportive category. And then how did you go about quantifying the proposed request, project, or program? So a lot of this then goes to that compliance. What was your evidence? What was your data that supported this request? Because evidence is critical to this. We must have reports that show that this was an unmet need and how these dollars are going to meet that need. And then who will receive assistance from the request, project, or program? And that goes right down to your qualified census tract. It's going to be important that if we're doing this for disparate populations, we have to understand who is getting this money and making sure that it's allowable.
So that's stop you right there, Tanya.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other questions? Because we're going to have Patrick Jones come and give us another snapshot that will get our thoughts going. Is there any other questions from council? And Tanya, I'm sure you'll be back for Tanya at this current time about the high overview of these funds. And I just speak up because I cannot see you on the screen. No other questions at this time? Tanya, I would be very afraid if I was you. Just because they're coming back. So at that point then, we're going to let Tanya go in respect of time, and we're going to Dr. Patrick Jones come on and give us his economic brief. Thank you, Tanya, for that, and we'll see you again soon. Dr. Jones.
Hello there, Councilwoman Wilkerson.
Yeah.
So I'll share my screen now.
Please.
It's here, slideshow. Okay, let me share the screen. I think this is it. All right, do you see the big red square in your screen?
Yes, we do. Eastern colors.
Okay. I got to do that. We're the Eagles, so we got to make the color story. So this is your second installment in this year of a new endeavor that I've worked out with Tanya and looking at key economic indicators for the city of Spokane. And I think you've seen this already, but let me just remind you that we've got about, close to 18 of these indicators. We're going to spend quite a bit of time on employment, the labor force, and then look at some construction, and then end up with taxable sales and revenues. And we would like to have 100% of these be actually denominated by City of Spokane values, but in some cases we couldn't, but we'll note those as well. So let's just start out with population. And one of the ways that we would like to keep track of how the county is doing, there's no city data available for this particular measure, is looking at how many people from outside the state of Washington come to the county and then have to give up their driver's license to become residents of the county. So if you can just take a peek here, this is what's new from the last presentation we made. We have been running fairly well over the prior year, which of course was a bit of a decline. But you can see where I've got my arrow hovering right there, that Q1, which is the latest data point for the county, was considerably higher than Q1 in 2020. So right now we see quite a few folks from out of county moving, out of state moving into the county. But I'd just like to point out that these numbers are still below what they were in 2016 and 2017. So we can't attribute the red hot real estate market just to people coming in from the outside. But you'll just notice this is a 28% increase over a year in the first 3 months of this year. By the way, the population estimates just came out for Spokane, if you didn't know, and that includes the city. The growth rate for the city of Spokane was about a little less than 0.8%, and the growth rate for the county overall was about 1%. And this, people migrating to our community is where population grows the most. Okay, so let's look at the labor market, and these are city-denominated variables or measures. And I would just like to point out that our labor force, unfortunately, has continued to shrink. And so in the first quarter of this year, it shrank by 5% over the similar quarter in 2020. So we have been on this negative growth path really since the start of the pandemic. And you can see earlier, the city was growing its labor force quite nicely in this high 3 to 4% range, but not now. And don't know all the reasons for that. I mean, we could probably toss out some hypotheses why this might be going on. So this is different than the number of jobs. So the labor force is basically the people people with a job and people looking for a job. And this is just looking at folks with a job. And you can see that there was a dramatic change from one quarter to the next during we call it the pandemic quarter. And it has slowly come back on a percentage basis. But then for the first 3 months of this year, the number of jobs in the city seemed to decline by a significant extent, 5.5 or close to 6%. So from the labor market point of view, we're still a bit in the woods, getting out of the pandemic-caused recession. Now, this is the unemployment levels and numbers, and I'll just point you to this 5.1%, which is on the face of it looking quite good. This is lower than it was in 2019, better than in the same period in 2019. However, if we have a shrinking labor force, it's easier to see the unemployment rate go down just because not that many people are looking. So I think some people, including myself, wouldn't mind a higher unemployment rate if the labor force were growing, which it so far isn't. Okay, so just a summary. I'm not going to read this. You can take a look at it if you've got it at your disposal to take a peek at. But again, we measure the civilian labor force, then we measure the number of jobs, and then we measure the unemployment rate. And in the first two, you can't say that we're really doing terrifically well, but we are not alone. This phenomenon in the labor force, in the labor market, is really true countrywide and statewide. So before I move on to sort of a look at the structure of the economy, any quick questions on how we're doing with these sorts of measures? Okay. Then let me just give you snapshots of the 5 most important sectors of our Spokane City economy. Unfortunately, the data that we show are available only at the county level because that's the best we can do with the source, which is employment security. But as will come as no surprise to you, the largest sector in the county and certainly in the city is healthcare and social assistance. And what do we mean by that? Well, that's outpatients, hospitals, social assistance, nursing and residential care. So we have, just to recap where we've been over the last 2 years, we've had an average employment in this sector of 43,000, and that for a county employment of, let's say it's 212 to 215,000 represents a substantial percentage. So the most recent number we have is of the last quarter of last year, and you can see it was a little over 43,500, and that puts us real close to the peak, which was just earlier that year. Why do we care? Well, we care first of all because it's the largest sector, and also because it pays pretty well at 53,500. That's better by a significant amount than the overall average in the county. Okay, next is retailing. Unfortunately, this sector has, as I'm sure to no surprise to any of you, has really suffered. But I will preface this that retailing was already facing employment declines before the pandemic hit. Certainly, the second quarter was the worst. You can see it went down about 13%. And so as of the end of last year, we were down about 2,000 employees from the peak that took place around the holiday period a year prior in 2019. The average employment over the last 2 years in the county has been 26,000, and the wages are considerably below the county average at 37,000 plus. The third largest sector in the county, and of importance for, I shouldn't say for the county because government's actually number 2 or 3, is the hospitality business. And you can just see by the plunge in the growth rate here from a growth rate of 3.4% a year ago down to a minus 33% in the pandemic quarter. It was terribly hard hit, and the recovery has been slow. So current data that we have for the end of last year were 16,000, or a little more than that in the sector. We're down still 4,000 jobs in this relatively large employing sector from the peak that we saw in 2019. And you can see that this sector really employs some of our lowest wage workers with an average annual wage of last year of about 22,000. Now, here are some classic city, urban sectors, the next two. This is called professional and technical services. Another way we used to say is white-collar jobs. Since very few people wear white collars these days, we can call them knowledge jobs. Lawyers, accountants, architects, engineers, computer folks. And as you can see by the height of this growth rate here, it was pushing 4 to 5% before the pandemic hit, which is quite high. We're still a little bit low. We've come back from the pandemic quarter, and we're still a little bit lower than we were at the peak at 10,500. And by the way, that's the average over the last 2 years. And this pays about just a little shy of $70,000 a year, this sector. And as I mentioned, this is a classic urban sector. There's certainly jobs in this sector in more suburban settings, but more than not, they're going to be in the urban setting. And then finally, we have among the 5 most important sectors for the city is finance and insurance. And this surprised me. We go from a pre-pandemic sort of experience of growing ever so slowly, even a bit negatively. And then once the pandemic hits, this goes up. And I don't know all the reasons why. I've got my hypotheses, but you can see the first quarter, it peaked at 5.3%, but then the growth rate was still positive even in the pandemic quarter and has recovered quite nicely in the subsequent quarters. So we're just a little bit down from the peak that we saw the first part of 2020, and you can see why this makes sense. Is so important economically. With an average annual wage of $92,000, that is by far and away the highest paid sector in our economy. And again, these are mostly urban jobs. So I'll just wrap up by saying we're still not there in our top 5 sectors with employment above the prior peak, but we're pretty close to it. And I'm sure we'll see it in quarter one of when you get this next report. Unfortunately, we can't say the same for the hospitality sector. I'm predicting it's not going to regain its peak until at least the fourth quarter, the earliest the fourth quarter, and probably not until 2023. On the other hand, there has been some good wage growth. Retailing has gone up actually considerably, close to 9%. And recall that retailing also includes grocery stores. So grocery stores employees receive premiums over the course of the year, and I think that had something to do with it. And then this very important sector of finance and insurance actually saw its wages increase dramatically over the period. So that's it for the labor market. Any quick questions? And in a sense, the economy. Councilwoman Stratton, I see the hand up. Yeah.
Just a quick one, and I'm not sure if it's a question or just a comment, but I'm noticing regarding hospitality in our neighborhood, in our Audubon neighborhood, we have 2 very popular, successful restaurants in our neighborhood, and they are closing. In fact, one was closed on a weekend day because of lack of employees to serve and to prepare the food. So it's going to be interesting to me to see how that plays out and the ramifications not only to the neighborhood but to that business. It's, you know, the 2 businesses, to see how they're going to survive that, or if they survive that.
Yes. Boy, there's a lot of discussion. There's a lot of analysis of that phenomenon going on across the country too, Councilwoman Stratton. You know, there's various reasons thrown out why that might be the case. But, you know, one of them, quite frankly, being that some people who were servers and in the hospitality industry have just decided that's not for them, and they've gone into other careers. And it'll be very interesting to see what the restaurant market looks like, or the restaurant experience looks like within a year.
And what the results to these neighborhoods that are starting to, you know, get busy and people are moving in and have businesses. It'll be interesting to see what the impact the neighborhoods are.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah. Small businesses in general We don't have any measure of that on this particular deck, but they definitely have had it much harder than large businesses. There's just no two ways about that. Any other questions on the state of the economy in Spokane and the labor market in particular?
Councilmember Mumm.
Oh,
Thank you.
Councilmember, I didn't see your picture there. Sorry.
That's okay. Hi, Patrick.
Hi.
I just want to make a comment. Councilwoman Stratton reminded me that we also have the same issue going on with child care workers.
Right.
The child care has closed, and I heard kind of anecdotally, they're competing with Amazon that is paying $15 an hour and, providing a lot of benefits and not so seasonal. But to that point, if child care closings, it's really affected the female labor market. Right. And I'm wondering if you have any gender way to cut this data, and if you do, if maybe you could send it to us. Because I'm also picking up on that on a statewide basis, that women are really had to make some tough decisions during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Also men were too, but in general, women were hit the hardest. So I was just curious about that.
Oh, you're absolutely right. There are no data disaggregated at this level of the city or the county to look at gender differences, and I can try to find some. Well, for sure, national differences. Councilmember Mumm, that's very apparent. It has definitely disproportionately impacted the pandemic females, especially parent mothers. So, yeah. And if there is a real hit to our child care facilities, then this will have some impact on our ability to grow that labor force that you saw on some of the early slides has really been slow to rebound. And so, yeah, I totally agree that that's a crucial link in the rebuilding the economy. Let me put it that way. Any other quick questions? Okay, then let's look at something that is an essential part of any economy, and certainly our economy, and there's been lots of conversation just about what's going on with our real estate market. This is not looking at the real estate market per se, but looking at really the supply side of the real estate market, and that is building. And we have both single-family, multifamily, and we'll start here with single-family permits. And, this is a precursor, obviously, in almost all cases, to a construction project. And so you can see that Q4 and Q1 relative to, of this year have been very strong compared to what we've seen over the prior 2 years. So we really see a bounce back in the real estate single-family market, and we also see it in the multifamily market. These are by units, not projects. And so in other words, this does not mean that we have like 144 apartment complexes going out. This is just looking at the number of units altogether within those projects. But you can see that there's been a dramatic increase over the last 6 months in the city permitting of multifamily. So whether that will be enough to not stop, but to slow down the rate of housing price growth remains an open question. But I think these are welcome signs for the city of Spokane. You also asked us to look at values, and I'll just point out that the most recent data we have here, let's say Q4 and the first quarter of this year, show that sweet spot of maybe $250,000 to $300,000 in the real estate market is now being built. The builders seem to be targeting that more so than just a few months ago. So we'll see whether this trend continues, that we've got the average price of $300,000 or more, or less, I mean. And if it does, I think that's also a fairly good sign. And here's the same look at multifamily units. You can see that their value has come down over time from, way here, a peak of $237,000 now to $125,000. So some really interesting dynamics in the residential market, and I think they're largely for the good. Now let's look at commercial in the city. That's a little different story. The last 6 months, the number of commercial projects has actually declined relative to the prior 6 months, although there is a bit of a pickup in Q1 of this year to Q1 of the prior year, and a bit of a pickup in the last quarter of 2020 to that of 2019. However, just look at what we saw in 2019 in general. We saw some big numbers in non-residential or commercial permitting in the city. And some of that, you might wonder why, but we've had to put this little balloon in here and say, you know, we had a huge number of permits for our Spokane school system, and after that it took a big dive, but still in the first quarter of this year, we have permitting values that are considerably higher, not only than last year, which was very low, so almost 3 times as high, but also quite a bit higher than the first quarter of 2019. So again, on the building front, it's looking quite good for the city of Spokane. So here's just a summary page, if you'd like to read it at your leisure, that captures both our comments on residential permits and non-residential permits, but fairly robust numbers. Now, any quick questions of permitting, not real estate, but of building and construction? I should just pause here.
I'm not seeing any, Patrick, so go forth.
Okay, we will go forth. Okay, so I don't know whether Tanya has shared this with you, but these are the fourth quarter numbers that just came in at the end of June. And this is the city of Spokane's quarterly number of basically 1.5 something billion, which was still a little bit less than what we saw in 2019, but not by much. And here's the percentage decline. What I found interesting, though, is that the city of Spokane and taxable retail sales did not fare as well as either the state of Washington or the county of Spokane, both of which were around 3.2 or 3.3%. So, relatively speaking, the city has had a tougher 2020 than the county, which had an increase of 1.6%. The state had a decline of 1.5%, and the city had a decline of 2.9% for the pandemic year. However, I'm sure that if you ask Tanya, that in some ways she might be happy with only a roughly 3% decline from what she and her team were forecasting in May of last year. That at least the state certainly was forecasting a huge decline, and it did not come to pass, thankfully. So just wanted to wrap up with looking at the annual numbers we have now from 2020 in the city of Spokane to 2019. And of course, this is really quite critical for revenues to the city. These are not all, but most of the sectors that are taxed, and retail trade actually did the best. But accommodation and the hospitality business did the worst, which is no surprise. And everything else kind of was in the middle here, with a little bit of an increase over the prior year, or in the case of construction, actually a little bit of a decrease. So that by and large, we saw a $168 million decline in taxable retail sales. So that's not taxes, but that's taxable retail activity. And this is just percentage terms. The biggest decline was something called other services, which is a grab bag of things that the state puts it in. But importantly, you can see that the decline percentage-wise in accommodation food services was a third. So just imagine, as Councilmember Stratton just pointed out, if you're a restaurant owner and you've looked at a third, if you're an average restaurant owner, you've looked at a third of your business that went away. On the other hand, there were a couple of increases. One is called, quote, retail trade, which is what we commonly associate for retail, like shopping stores and the like. And then health services went up 15%, which might not surprise people. Okay, and then quickly within retail trade, those companies, those firms, and this is city data again now, those areas that did the best were electronics and appliances, no surprise, building material stores, drug stores, and those areas, those stores that did the worst were apparel and accessories, and then motor vehicles and parts. Now, the city of Spokane has, roughly speaking, far fewer motor vehicle and parts stores than the county overall, but it does have a much higher percentage, or a higher percentage of apparel and accessory stores. And on these sectors or industries right here, the weight of these kind of stores versus the weight in the city versus the county is more or less the same. So basically, it was kind of a wash for the city as to where, your mix of activities or your mix of retail is coming from. So I remember when I served as an advisory council on the first advisory council on economic vitality and to Mayor West, and he looked at these numbers and said, we need more motor vehicle, we need more car dealerships in the city. Let's not let them go. And one could typically say that, I think, because they do provide so much revenue to the city or to any entity. And you can see in parentheses here a 1, and that means it's the largest sector providing retail dollars within the quote retail trade sector. Okay, so this more or less wraps it up, and I just wanted to give an eye to the future that we will see shortly with second quarter reports. This is Washington State retail sales, and in contrast to what we get at the city level and the county level, which comes a great delay from the Department of Revenue, this group, the Forecast Council, gets these data monthly and publishes them for the state. And you can see starting here in January, we have a 7% increase, a 7% increase, a 17% increase in the first semi-month of the pandemic. And then we hit the pandemic and we have a 50% increase over last year and then a 40% increase over last year. So I think it's safe to say that when we do this again and look at Q2 numbers for the city of Spokane, they are going to be huge in terms of their increase over the prior year, if only because we're looking at such weak numbers. But nonetheless, I think we'll be looking at year-over-year numbers that are strong all the way out if the Forecast Council is correct. And if my little correlation that I do typically with the city of Spokane and the state is correct, it's a very high correlation, which means as the state goes, so does the city. So that's rather promising for quarters 3 and 4 in my opinion. So that's just a summary as well. And any questions on retail sales and that source of revenue? Surprises?
Well, thanks for ending on a glimmer of hope for the future. We're excited about that. Any questions for Dr. Jones?
I'll just say, if I can, Councilwoman Wilkerson, I hope we feel lucky we live in the state of Washington. We have a growing population. We have, relative to many other states, we've got growing incomes, growing wages, and it translates into things like taxable retail sales.
Thank you. We sometimes lose eyesight of that. Who else? Who do I hear out there? Well, if nothing else, we will cut you free for today. Thank you for joining us.
Okay. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to do this.
Yeah, we'll see you next quarter.
Okay.
So, Jake, you're out there. We are running tight on time, so I'd like you to condense your report as much as possible, but still keep us informed.
Can do, Councilmember Wilkerson. That's no problem. Let me get that screen shared.
Nope.
Sorry. Okay, ready to go.
All right.
Okay. So I won't restate the objectives. That's fairly repetitious stuff there. But going straight into the contingency reserve and revenue stabilization balances, the only change there would be the contingency reserve sitting at $12.7 million. At the beginning of the year, and what is budgeted for the reserve is about $21 million. So it's about $8.3 million below that figure. Generally throughout the year, it's the general fund can borrow from the reserve and it gets paid back with property tax remittances. So I guess time will tell as the year goes on how much we repay of that to get to the reserve. Cash and investment summary, we reduced by about 40. We increased about $40 million, which happens to be what we received in ARP funds. We also had some maturities, about $8.5 million, so decreasing the fixed income portion and going to cash. Unrealized gain, they're on page 2, $7.6 million in unrealized gain. That is about $100 million increase from the previous quarter. Our yield to maturity, which is the total return anticipated on bonds that held to maturity, is 1.1%. And that is down from about 1.2 from the previous quarter. And we have a similar return for that quarter as well. So this one is just showing how the composition of the different levels within the portfolio, all included in the reports there. So we have time for that. And I do have one last piece, unless there are any questions on that portion.
Council President Beggs.
Yeah, Jake, I was just a little confused on the contingency reserve. Is that because we've taken out SIP loans? I didn't realize that we dipped into that other than council doing something specifically to do that. So I'm just a little fuzzy on that.
No problem, Council President. Over the course of the year, the cash portion of the general fund can sometimes get fairly tight in it. It's a timing issue between maybe a couple months before property taxes are received. And what we do is we borrow from the reserve, but it's a loan. And when we pay that back with property taxes, we pay it back with interest. So in a typical year, it all gets paid back. But I believe, as has been projected, through these times, is that our revenues are down. So right now we are borrowing those funds still for our cash needs, kind of anticipating paying those back.
Councilmember Mumm.
Hi, Jake. That is also news to me. And my understanding was if we were to do that, to use the unallocated reserves, and we weren't going to touch either revenue stabilization or contingency reserves because we're trying to preserve those for our bond ratings.
It's still it's most likely me not explaining it correctly, but it's kind of a mechanism from period to period, like when it's still an investment within the city. It's just
Jake, this is Tanya. So let me try to clarify a little bit, council members, because it can be confusing. All of the reserve balances are still in place, but reserve balances do not equal cash or investments. They are separate balances. So a portion of our cash is a portion of the contingency reserve, revenue stabilization, unappropriated, as well as our investment balance. It's the whole general fund. And if you look at the balance sheet of the general fund, you have your assets, which are cash and investments. Then you have your liabilities, and then you have your equity. Your equity is your assets minus liabilities equal the equity. Your equity is where your reserve balances are. So they're not just cash, they're not just investments, they are your net assets. Does that make any sense?
We
So
can
when
dive deeper
Jake is
later. I can work with Council President to dive deeper later so we have a better understanding of that. So thank you.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Tanya. So are there any other questions on that portion?
Nope.
Okay, so on the last slide here is the SIP loan capacity. You take the investment, as of June 30th, you take the investment portfolio balance, $436 million. We take out the bond proceeds for library and parks. They're planning to spend those down fairly quick. The net balance there would be about $397 million. 15% is in our policy, leaving a capacity of $59.5 million, of which $42 million is used. So that leaves about 4.3 of that 15% left over for your capacity number. And that's all I have. Are there any other questions for me?
I'm not seeing any. So unless Council President's leaning in. Okay, you're good. All right, thank you so much. Okay, Paul, I'm sorry to put you on the clock. You got about 5 good minutes because Council President would like to reserve some time for a quick introduction.
No,
Not a problem. Thank you.
I withdrew that, Betsy. I texted you. I don't need any time. So thanks.
Okay, all right, then Paul, you got 8 minutes.
Even better. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, council members. I'm going to share some quick power PDFs, and then we'll be on our way for the afternoon. Okay, so these first couple of reports were in your packets that were sent out last week from Amy. This first one, again, these are the changes to the general fund through June 2021. You can see the adopted amount, $208 million. There's been about $16.5 million of additions through the first half of the year. So your total net budget, the current budget, is about $225 million. And the second page of that report details all those changes that Amy sent out. There were 3 that were added in June through SBOs. The $115,000 for the Academy Range, the $1.1 million for Cannon Street, and then a $15,000 leasing module that got added as a transfer in from Fleet Services. Any questions on those 3? Okay. The second report is the intra-fund budget transfer report for June 2021. So these are the changes from one type code to a different type category. Typically, some position changes are on here too. You can see some reclassifications, some progressive promotions on there, and then just your standard changing category. Any questions on this report? Okay. I'll move on to our general fund summary report, our one-pager. This is, again, through June 30th, 2021. Not many changes on this. And in fact, the only change is highlighted in the middle. And this one was not part of the packet, but I'll make sure to send this out at the conclusion of this meeting. I highlighted the row that changed since last month's Finance Administration Committee. This is just updated to reflect those SBOs that happened in June, so they show up on this report too. So the second quarter changes are updated to about $2.2 million to reflect those 3 SBOs. There is one difference, I think, between those first 2 reports I just showed you in this report. Those reports, and I'll just flip back to it really quick, sorry, is this includes the police retro pay SBO, whereas the one-pager since it was included on the accounting side during 2020, it's already accounted for in this top half section. It already came out of the unappropriated fund balance. So you might see a difference between the totals, but that explains the difference between what you're seeing as the adjusted general fund expenses between the two reports. But the summary at the bottom is still accurate. So it's about $5.2 million assumed for unappropriated fund balance in the general fund at this point. I hope that made some sense. Any questions on this one before I move on? Okay. Now I'll move to sort of just the standard financial update for the city general fund through June 2021. So we're actually about 3% above budget on the revenue side through June. It's about $81 million collected against a $79 million budget, what we expected to collect at this point, primarily due to strong sales tax and property taxes. And you'll see that in a chart in a couple of pages ahead. Sales, property, and utility are big three. They're approximately 6% above budget through June collectively. You'll see what's dragging down the overall, again, in a couple of slides. Expenditures are approximately 5% below budget through June, about $99 million in expenses against what we anticipated, $104 million spent. Again, salaries and benefits are going to be the biggest driver of that, about $6.1 million below budget. And I think this is kind of what Jake was talking about, where typically throughout the year, we have more expenses. We have about $99 million spent, but at this point, we've only brought in about $81 million. So they just take cash from one pile to pay for the other until we get our second chunk of property taxes later in the year as well. The last point on this one, uniform overtime, and again, we switched it to look at how they are doing this year compared to this point last year. So through June 2021, police has actually spent 7% less in overtime compared to the same time period in 2020, and fire is about 133% more through the same time period. Looking at revenue on a chart here, so through June 2021, it's about $2.3 million above where we expected. And again, it's about 6% above where we were this time fiscal 20. And you can see the chart on the right where we're slightly above where we expected to be by this point in the year. And here is that really nice looking pasted table. The yellow box on the left-hand side, those revenue types equal about 90% of the overall revenue budget for the city. So everything below that, it only equals about 10%. And you can see on the right-hand side, the areas that we're doing well, again, sales tax continues to be really strong compared to where we expected it to be, about $4.1 million above 3.8 for the local retail sales portion of that. Property tax above where we expected, also with interfund taxes, which are our internal utility taxes. The parts that are lagging and bringing us down would be those business taxes, which are the private utilities, and then towards the bottom, the miscellaneous revenue, again, interest earnings, which we reduced significantly in the budget, in the adopted budget. We only had about $3.1 million budgeted. We're still seeing even less than that. We expected about 2.4 by now. We're only seeing 1 million in actual. So that's what's dragging down the overall variance, positive variance. Taxable sales, to follow up on Dr. Jones's points here. So for April 2021, we were up 46.2% compared to April 2020. Again, we have that 2-month lag in our data, so that's what we're seeing as far as actuals for June, which is based off of April data. April 20 to April 2021, retail trade up about 38%, construction 46%, and even accommodation and food services up 49% from prior year. Total taxable sales were about $185 million over April 2020. And year to date, it's about 29% over what we had through the same time period in 2020. So the first 4 months of actual taxable sales. And then this chart looks at, this table looks at the year-to-year changes by month. And I highlighted the city of Spokane. So again, our June is about 46% above June 2020. Our May was 53%. This ties again to what Dr. Jones just showed on some of those other charts too. So when we show that in a graph format, this is the major cities along with the valley and the county on here, showing again the year-to-year changes from month to month. And then if we get rid of the west side and just show city, the county, and the valley, you can see we had based off of how poorly 2020 was, we all had sharp increases April and May of this year, and we're still about 50 to 60% above where we were for June 2020. And this is my last slide on the expense side. Again, about $5 million below budget, almost 5%. Salary and benefits continue to be the driver for that, about 17%. And then services are actually 10% above where we expected them to be at this point in the year. You can see the graph again, it's sort of all over the place. Some of that has to do with the Guild contract posting in May, the actuals hit. And again, some of this is just built off of what we had seen in past history. So we may have expected a little bit less in June, but we exceeded that. And then you can see this, what we're anticipating a spike in July, because that's a month with three pay periods. So that's why we have a large spike we're expecting for July as well. And that is all I have for today. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Paul? You did it, Paul. Thank you. Well, if there are no more questions, thank you all for joining in to the Finance and Administration meeting today. We know finances kind of drives the engine that keeps us chugging along. So please join us on Monday, August 16th for our next meeting right here. We don't know what they'll look like in person or a hybrid, but we will be here and we hope you will join us. Have a good afternoon, everyone.